Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the flagship store of Titan here in BGC. I'm Anthony Sutai. You're joining us here on the B.League YouTube channel, and we're going to know a little bit more about the B.League as the day goes along. This is the very first event of the B.League here in the Philippines, and it marks a historic day for basketball here in the country. In just a little while, we're going to get to see game number 1 of the Nissay B.League Finals 2021-2022 between the RYUKYU Golden Kings and UTSUNOMIYA Brex. This event is brought to you by the B.League, Slam Philippines, your source for the best in basketball, and of course Titan, the first and only basketball specialty concept store in the Philippines. Before anything else, we'd like to acknowledge the presence. Joining us here today is His Excellency Ambassador Koshikawa Kazuhiko of the Embassy of Japan in the Philippines. Ambassador, good morning. Thank you for joining us here today. We're going to get to know a lot more about the B-League as the day goes along, but what better way to be able to hear it from the players themselves, the Filipino stars who have plied their trade in Japan this past season. We're going to call them in one by one, starting out with this first player. Wearing jersey number 19, a standout from the college ranks and a Gila stalwart, he suited up for the B-League Division 2 under Aomori Watts. Let's give it up for Kemark Carino. Morning, Kemark. Have a seat, please. And we're going to get to meet the other players in just a while. Here is player number 2. This next player took his talents from Diliman all the way to Japan and developed his game to become a reliable long-range shooter. He suited up for the Ibaraki Robots. Please welcome Javi Gomez de Liano. Hey, Javi. Take a seat, please. And slowly but surely, we're going to fill in this roster of players. Here is player number 3 coming up.
Lay Parks, Esaton, Saito, 失礼、伊藤、ふわっと浮かせて、レイパークスジュニア。うまいですね、素晴らしい。さあ、リバウンドからの守りです。
We have with us today one of Philippine basketball's most talented players. He averaged 10.4 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, and 1.9 assists for his team, the Diamond Dolphins, which made it to the playoffs here this season. Give it up for Ray Parks Jr. Hey, Ray.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Who do we have next? Next up is the guy we all know as a phenomenal point guard and a vocal leader in the B-League. We've seen him dish out assists, sink back-to-back threes, and had a couple of slams as well, averaging 13.1 points, 5.8 assists, 2.3 rebounds, and 1.8 steals from the Shiga Lake Stars, Kiefer Ravena.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, guys.
We got 4. We have 5 here joining us this morning. And here's our 5th player coming up.
さらにはよく不在という中で戦っているのが島根ですが、ここはバスケットカウント。さあ、ディラベナもこのようにして。
And lastly, we have the Trailblazer, the guy who started it all, the man who proved that Filipino ballers are world-class, posting averages of 11.4 points, 3.8 rebounds, with 2.4 assists per game from the San Neo Phoenix. Let's welcome Thirdy Ravena. Take a seat, Thirdy. Okay, before we get to the players, let's give you a brief backgrounder first of the B-League. The B-League officially started off in 2016 and is now in its 6th season with Mr. Shinji Shimada as its chairman. The overall league system of the B-League is closer to the European League or the Japanese Soccer League, the J-League. The league is currently divided into 3 tiers, B1, B2, and B3. B3 teams can be promoted to B2 through qualification, while B2 teams must play in the annual promotion tournament. The League 2 playoffs to reach the top 2 and obtain B1 club license stature before they can make it to the B1. There are 22 teams in the B1 league, 11 in the East and 11 in the West. There are 14 teams in the B2 league, 7 in the East, 7 in the West. Each B-League team is allowed to have 3 imports on their roster, and 2 import players are on the court at the same time. In addition to these 3 imports, each team is allowed to have 1 naturalized or Asian player import, and that's why we have these Filipino players joining us here today. They competed in the league last season. And so that's why we have this B-League event here at the Titan flagship store. Now let's get to talk to our players. Are we good to go? I think we're good to go. Yes, we're going to get to talk to the players. Okay, who do we start out with? Let's talk with Kemark first because he came in first. Let's do it from that side all the way down. So you guys have a chance to relax a little bit first. Kemark, talk to us about your experience playing in Japan.
Hello. I think my best experience is to play there.
Was it an adjustment for you having to play in another country?
For me, yes. Play in the other country. Alone.
When you look at it, looking back, how long did it take you to be able to adjust to life in another country? I'm not even talking about life in Japan, but just life in another country.
I think it's take like 3 their Japanese culture.
Not bad. 3 weeks is okay.
Yeah.
And let's go to Javi. Javi, what about you? Same thing. I mean, how difficult was it and how different was it to be able to play outside of Philippine soil?
It's a big adjustment for me since I'm coming off from a college basketball career. So just international basketball, basically everything is higher, the level, and then specifically in B-League, their defensive plays and all that. And like what Kemark said, it's really off the court that you have to make big adjustments since it's my first time living alone as well.
How long did it take you to finally adjust?
Probably a month, I'll say.
So a little longer for you. Did you actually get to talk to Thirdy to get some advice? Because he was actually there last year, so he might be able to have given you guys, you four, a chance to be able to sort of adjust a little bit better?
Yeah, when I arrived in Japan, I came late, so it was our 3rd week. We went up against Thirdy's team, so we got to talk a bit.
So that helped you out, at least relax a little bit.
For sure.
Seeing a familiar face in a different country.
Just seeing a Filipino out there makes me happy.
That's right. Let's go to Ray. Ray, obviously, you've played abroad and been away from home. So was it an adjustment still for you to be able to be in Japan? Of course, it's a different culture.
For sure, it's definitely a different culture, and I mean, basketball-wise, I felt like we were able to experience a lot of international competition, like the national team, and have more exposure to that. So like, all the cool stuff is just what I'd say. Just figuring out your routine, figuring out how to play back-to-back games. Really like, I felt like we got as young as me and Kiefer. We the old guys over here, so having to adjust to the delicious food that they have over there and trying to balance it out with the proper diet is definitely key in the adjustment because, like I said, you tend to miss the adobo, sinigang, everything that's out here. So going out there is just it's tough not having friends, but also having people. So the pandemic, it's definitely tough in that aspect.
You played in the G League, now you're playing in the B League. Was it difficult adjusting to a different brand of play, so to speak?
There's definitely an adjustment part there, I'd say, because the style of playing the B-League is different. I feel like these guards are very quick, and then the shooters are ridiculous. So you have to guard more like pin downs and really chase all these great shooters along. Plus, they got these quick guards. So that's the basic difference in coming on from that to playing in the G League. The G League, I feel like the force is much more open. Like anyone oriented, they stay from the man. Just try to beat a guy that's instead of just it's crazy after that. Like the G League, it's more like you have to use your skills to the best of your ability, use your size to the best of your ability.
Right, okay, we'll go to Kiefer. Kiefer, how was the adjustment for you? You gotta use my mic. I think it's much better.
I think the biggest adjustment is like, the same for them as well. It's more of finding your own routine, finding the balance that you need to do to, make yourself comfortable. It's not just about playing. The off-court things matter as well because it gives you peace of mind, it relaxes you, it calms you down to actually prepare better for your games. And the back-to-back is really hard, especially for us too. It took me, after our first game, me and Thirdy, I felt like I was gonna get sick, and I was really my body was so sore after the second game. And I guess this is, I told myself that this is going to be it for the rest of the year. So I had to prepare myself mentally and physically as well.
Did you have some inside information, so to speak, because your brother was here? He was there for one whole year. So more than these three gentlemen here, you might have been able to get a little bit more know-how on how to adjust to Japanese culture.
He was able to tell me, some tips that make it easier, living alone, things that I could do to, hasten my adjustment. And the most important tips that he gave me was the food places. So he knew the spots, and I went there, and we went there together sometimes. So yeah, I guess those are the tips that I learned from Thirdy.
How are you guys able to maintain your weight with all the good food there in Japan? I mean, wait, I'll give you. Okay.
Well, for me, that's one of the biggest concerns because Japan just has amazing food, and some of them you can't really have often, so you just have to work out more. So it motivates me to work out more, to eat more food too.
Let's talk about your second season in the league. Was it better for you, so to speak? Because remember, last year you came in a bit late, and then you got sick, you got injured. This season was a little bit more injury-free. Coming into it with a little bit more expectations?
Yeah, well, definitely this season has been better generally, without any injuries. I was able to play most of the games. I think I only skipped about 3 games, and well adjusted. Before the season, I had a little bit more time to get to know my teammates in the system. But this year, I mean, it was good. Individually, we might not have had the result that we wanted as a team, but I'd say a lot of us played pretty good individually, especially playing alongside these guys. It just motivates you to elevate your game and just gets you a little bit more challenged, especially when you're playing against them.
Well, that's why they call it a trailblazer, because that's why these 4 gentlemen are here, and I think a lot more will be able to follow. Are you glad that you're able to open the doors for more Filipino ballers to be able to play abroad?
More than happy to be able to, I thought I was just going to help one person out, and it eventually led to this whole thing where people actually think about Japan when they think about going pro, and it's an amazing feeling. Hopefully there are more people who would come out there and see what it's like and experience not just on the court how Japan is like. The court as well is very beautiful. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for the future generation.
And as they say, the best is still yet to come. Let's go back to Kemark. Kemark, looking back at the season, what would you say were your most memorable moments? I think you might have to use my mic. Is the mic good now?
I think my most memorable is my first point as a professional basketball player. That's my first memorable experience for me. I think that's it.
Let's see, this work? Is this working? Okay, this is working. Okay. So anyway, we have actually a lot of things to do because we are going to be starting game number 1 in just a little bit. So we're going to also have some question and answers as we go along throughout the course of the day that we have here today. Any final words you guys might want to say to everybody listening to us on the B.LEAGUE YouTube channel? And I see Ray passing it over to the veteran.
To all the B-League fans, all the Filipino B-League fans, hope you guys can tune in for the game 1 against the B-League finals, Nissay B-League finals, UTSUNOMIYA versus RYUKYU. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a tough game, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it.
Okay, we're going to be talking about the finals right now before we actually throw it to the game proper. And your thoughts, let's go from this time, we'll go from Thirdy all the way over there. About your thoughts about these finals. You've played with most of the players there. You've played against them. What are your thoughts coming to the finals? Who do you think has got the edge? Who do you think are the players that will be showing up and be key players for their respective squads?
Yeah, just use this one. I wish I've been able to play UTSUNOMIYA, but unfortunately my 2 years in the V-League, I haven't played them yet. But I just know that RYUKYU is a very strong offensive team. They execute very well, and they always make you pay for your mistakes. And UTSUNOMIYA, a very physical, tactical team as well. They have a lot of vets in that team. One of my Japanese idols, is playing out there, and he's been playing really well. And he's probably going to be the one of the names that would pop up often in this series. And yeah, I mean, for RYUKYU, I think it's going to be outside of the imports, Keita Imamura, and yeah, those guys. So very excited to watch the finals.
Kiefer, let's go to you. Is that mic working?
Hello, hello. Yes,
it is. Your thoughts?
You know, RYUKYU. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, hello. Yeah, RYUKYU is a very strong offensive team, but I think in terms of manpower, UTSUNOMIYA has the lineup that can contain the scoring guards of RYUKYU. They got big point guards, and at the same time, the big men of UTSUNOMIYA with Isaac. And yeah, Chase Feeler. So I think it's a very good matchup for the finals. And again, I think it all boils down to execution. Who prepares more and can execute better on the floor will have a bigger chance of winning.
Before we go to Ray, I want to also bring in there your playoff experience because you're the only one from these players that were able to make it to the championship. What was that? Let's do that. Let's do that sign again.
The final right now is to piggyback off of what Kiefer and Thirdy said. It's about imposing your will because both teams are very physical, and like I said, Brex has those big guards that can stick with you. RYUKYU has those guards that are very athletic, so I'm definitely excited to watch to see who can really be the aggressor on both ends of the floor. But when it comes to the championship series, it was a great experience for sure, and we went up against a great team, which is Kawasaki, Brave Warriors, and just to learn from the experience, it's good, and I'm definitely proud of my team because we were fighting through all the injuries, and man, we was handicapped, so I'm excited to see what the future holds and hopefully get back to that.
Thank you very much. You know, the discussion has gone on so quickly that the game is about ready to begin. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to a little bit later on about your thoughts about the finals. I think you guys are happy about that anyway. No, anyway, we're going to head in over inside because game number 1 is going to be starting a little bit. So we're going to take a break here. Here's game number 1 of the B-League Finals.